Western Associates View Builder webinar, training on how to do view builders in employee self-service. For right now, we have everybody on mute so we can cut down on any background noise. I am recording this so that it will be available on our customer portal at a later time. In order to be able to create these, you have to own employee self-service. And then we'll be doing some, if you have some questions, you can put that into our little chat session. And then I also have everyone's email address. So at the end of this, I will be emailing everybody the little piece of, it's about, I probably have about 19 pages, a nice little booklet for you on going through how to actually set up a view builder and adding the roles and things like that. So the view builder is actually a tool to create dashboards, which are like little mini on-screen reports for use in employee self-service. You could also send it via email to employees, managers, or executive viewers. And what it actually does is when you do send it to them, it uses the security of the self-service. So they would be able to, you could send them this little dashboard and they would be able to drop the information into like an Excel spreadsheet. They would have to put in their username and password for employee self-service in order for it to launch. So in order to actually, to give View Builder rights, it's assigned through roles and login. So you would have to be signed on in employee self-service as the system admin in employee self-service, and it's usually the username with the master you have changed the password to, but typically it's master. So I'm going to sign in as master and employee self-service. And then we would go into roles and log on. So here we have assign admin roles. Right now, these people that have all these different roles, they have the benefit administrator, HR administrator, payroll, and training. We need to see what the view builder roles might be for him. So let's open up Q Allen. So he has all these roles, but he doesn't have the ability to create a view builder. So if you want somebody to be able to create these little mini reports that are on employee self-service, you'd have to give them rights to do that. Or if you have like a top management person that you want to be able to see all the information that's contained within that particular little mini dashboard, you can actually give them executive viewer. So you have to kind of be careful when you give somebody executive viewer, because that means whatever you choose to go on to that view, you have to, they will be able to see everybody's information. So if you have pay information in that view, then that executive viewer can see it for everybody in the system. So this is where we would assign it. You can create custom view builder roles, but for now we won't talk about creating those. But most of the time you would have somebody, so think about, those of you who are familiar with the system, the roles we actually have out here are employee and manager. So we can create these views in the View Builder, that little dashboards, and we can make them available to employees or just the managers. So let's think about this. So that's how you would actually give somebody the rights. I'm going to sign in as Mary Stewart. She has these rights. So I'm going in as her. So she can create views. So I'm going to go in as her. So first you have to assign that role of a creator or an executive. And then when you look into employee self-service, under here, the System Administrator section, it's View Builder. So this gives the person rights to create views, the actual views for the View Builder. So I'm going to go into here. And there's some that's already come with the system. So we have, and of course this is my demo machine. So everybody has been playing in here. So not sure which ones actually came with and which ones did not. But you can see here, these are what we call our access levels. So this is if we want the executive viewer to see everything in this particular one, we give them executive viewer rights. And we have manager and employee. So once we create these, we put them on the menu in Employee Self-Service. So we would put it under the employee area in Employee Self-Service or the manager menu area. So let's open up one of these so we can see, just to poke in and see what we have in here. So here's the manager, and here's an example for an employee contact list. So we're going to open this up. So when you build these, this is similar to the secure query. So we just have some, like 5 little steps on creating these. So the first thing we would do is come up with the name. So you would enter the name. So we're just going to go over all these pieces, and then we're going to come back and actually create one of our own. So the view name, so we would name this, and we could give it a little description. So when we're actually building it, we can make it active or inactive. So if it's active, somebody could possibly see it out there. A page title, so we can call it contact list. And then each and every one of these winds up with their own URL. That's how we place it on the menu under employee or under manager. We place it using our web links. So if you're familiar with customizing the Employee Self-Service and adding a web link, that's how you would do it, and it has its own little URL, which we copy to a clipboard. So we've named it. We have a description. It's active, a page title, and here's our URL that it creates automatically. Then we have our access level. So here we have employee, executive viewer, and manager. And then if we have things set up in Employee Self-Service, some of you have it set up where they can see direct or indirect reports. This determines how many levels of indirect reports this particular manager would be able to see. So you can govern that here if you only want them to see 1 level down, 2 levels, 3 levels, however deep your group happens to be. So is everybody with me so far? A little chat to tell me, okay, the pace is good. So if somebody would kind of tell me whether things are good. I have everybody on mute because it winds up being too noisy with the background. So someone just send me a little chat. Okay, Tia, thank you very much. Tia says things are fine. Okay, now remember, whatever we go through with this area, we're going to be going back again and actually going through and creating one. So you see we have things like new, edit, copy, export, and import. Import thing is if you've created it with another system, you can import them into here. So I digress. So this is the security of this particular view for us. So we can select fields. So we have this particular one is off of personnel, which those of you familiar with creating the secure query. So these are things out of HR section, they call it personnel. So we have the choice of personal information we can choose from. So just a little click of a box, and it comes over here into our selected area. So we have all this information off of the person's personal page, meaning our like demographics information. We also see some fields that are from our HR status page. Then we have more things from our, so mostly these are fields that would be from like our HR personnel that are in that particular database. So we have all those to choose from. Which also we see, go down further, forwarding address, termination reason. Then we also have the ability to do job and pay, benefits, things off of our career pages, training, time off, and then also from any of our custom that are out there. So if we open up custom, if we have any customs, so we have some customs out here, it'll give you all the fields from custom. So it will give you first the ones from what we consider HR TK Purse, which is our single record fields. And then here we have some that are multi-records. So we might have one for clearances, company property, on down the line. So all kinds of neat things we can choose from. So we would click the ones that we want, hit update, and it would give us our whole selection. Once we have it over here, we can drag and drop the fields to reorder. So this would be like the top column going across. Think about we're like doing an Excel spreadsheet. So the company code, this is very similar to our secure query that you use. So we have all these we can choose from. We have the descriptions of our organization levels versus the codes, because this is a report technically that you're going to be displaying on your employee self-service. So then we have the ability to group and sort. So this one's not grouping by anything. So then it's going to have sorting by last name and then first name and then middle name. So we have one group, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sortings that you can have fun with. Then we can define our output. So we can change the descriptions of these, so maybe they're not used to seeing this called, company code. So we can actually change the name of it for our view. Then we could have it in as a part of being used as a part of this view, but we can wind up masking it, so that whether we want to show it or not. And then if we have some numeric fields, we can just click on here and say to show the total or not. So that's when it's not a particular numeric field. You can click on a button and say show the summary totals only, and you can click on a button and say count number of records. So we have all that we can do similar to secure query. Then we have our set filter. So similar to secure query, where we can choose, so this particular one we want company code is equal to the next thing they're looking at. So it says here we're going to say the status code is not equal to T. So the employee status is not equal to T. Whatever else we want to add to it, we can do from a pick list up here to do our filter. So you see it's in nice plain English, so we don't have to have any kind of a data dictionary or anything like that to build these. So you would pick what your criteria is and hit update, and it would add it to our filter down here. So at any time, you could wind up editing one of these. So maybe you decide, okay, well, I didn't like what was on there, or I didn't filter it enough. So that's what one of the fun things is about this, making it inactive. So no one sees it anyway. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little sections, just like our secure query. I'm going to go back to the list. It says, yes, I didn't make any changes. So we have, so if we already know some of these that we've already built, we can always copy one. We can edit it. We can export it out, and then we can import it. So let's start off from scratch on creating a new one. So we're going to say new, and this particular one, let me see what I'm going to title it. I'm just going to call this one our sample. This will be like a sample employee one. So it automatically gives a page title of that. So we're going to say this is a sample of employee information. For the employee. We can leave it as active. We're going to make this access of employee only. And we go and select our fields. So here's all of our data sources then that you can see. We have our benefit enrollments, course catalog, which comes from the train module, if you have the train module, pay history, personnel, and then required courses, which also comes from our train module. So in this case, we're just going to do one from personnel. And we can open up one of these and choose let's think of something that they wouldn't typically be able to see in employee self-service. Which most of the time they can. Well, maybe they don't see like or something like that, or nickname. So you could put those on there if you have nicknames. And maybe their alternate email, because that normally doesn't show. And this is based on the one with Sage HRMS. So some of these fields you don't see in the Sage EverSuite employee self-service. We have gender we can put on here. You see all the different fields that we can choose from. Once you choose all of your information that you want on there, maybe you want your emergency contacts in there, maybe their job title, you would hit update, and it puts it over here. And if we want to, I'm just dragging and dropping. You can just move them around to order them the way you want. So then group and sort. This particular one probably doesn't need to be sorted. I think of maybe if you gave them a list of their dependents. So this is a real basic one. You won't have to do any grouping or sorting or anything like that. So it's a real basic one. Define our output, whether we want to show the data or not. So this is just a real sweet, kind of down and dirty one for the employee. Okay. Set filters. So in this case, the ones that we want to be on here is only those that are active anyway. It's only for the employees, so they're only going to see their information. But think about if we were doing this for a manager. So we'll do another one that's actually for a manager. So we have personnel, looking for the employee status. Sometimes I think they have too many fields out here. Here it is. Status code equals A. Okay. Save it. So we have that saved. We can preview it. So if we look at it, so what this does is you have to be a valid person in here. So you would use one of your employees. This is Mary Stewart. And this is the basic information we have on her. There's two different views. So there's an individual records view and a table view. So the person can look at it however they would like. So they might want to see it more of a down the list here for it, or actually across here. So they have it those ways that they can look at it. So then also, so we have our URL here. And then also we have this create an IQY file. And what they have on here is the ability for the person, because at the very beginning I said we could actually send somebody a link to this so-called IQY file. It's a little query file that's used in Excel. So you can say create the IQY file, and it says, okay, do you want to save it? That's from, so I'm going to say save. And then I'm going to open it. And then they'll have the ability to do these IQY files. Let me find my Excel out here. Oops. Somebody else had something else out there copied. Let me go back into here again. Back to my View Builder area. IQY file, and say I want to open it. It might not be popping up where I want it out here. If I go on there, I'll get back to that one so you can see that in a minute. We'll see this in action when we put it on the menu. So we can take this dashboard or view, whatever you want to call it, use this URL. So you would say copy to clipboard. Oh, that's why I was having problems. Too much security on my demo machine. So I'm copying that to the clipboard. And I'm going to go out of this area altogether. So we actually close, so you see it actually opens up a whole nother window. Here we have our Sage Employee Self-Service, but the View Builder actually launches off of here. So I'm going to close my View Builder. And I'm going to go and create first custom content, which is a web link. And I'm going to do a new one. You see we have one for company property. So you're creating your web link. So I'm going to paste this in here. So I copied that to our clipboard. So I'm going to call this one employee sample. You don't have to worry about single sign-on. That's for extra special ones. So we did our web link there. So you would have to be actually have a role of an HR administrator to be able to do these customizations. You notice I'm not going back out and signing in as master to add this. So you have to be able to have one of these admin levels. So I'm going to go to create custom menu. So this is where we're going to put it on our menu. Okay. So I want to find, since this is employee, we want to put it in employees menu. So we highlight the employees menu in our custom content area to create custom menu. Hit new, and we're going to call this employee sample. We're going to tell it to navigate to my employee sample out here. And hit save. So there's steps again where we actually created custom content of the web link, and you copy that from the clipboard that we wind up with that nice little URL when we're building the view. And we place it in here, calling it what we want for the page. Then we go to our create custom menu. So we're actually doing programming in here. So I chose the employee menu because it's for the employee to place it on the employee area of employee self-service. If it's for the manager, you would choose it for in the manager menu area. So I just created that. Then I have to go into the employer setup area under our pages. Let me go looking down here. Down here under custom, and here it says right now it's no access. You can say view. So I'm going to go back up and hit save. So we have to create the web link. Then we have to go into creating the web link is under custom content, and of course we have to have administrator rights to be doing that. Then we would go to create custom menu, put it either on the employee menu or manager menu. Then we have to go into our system settings under employer setup. Now you might have multiple companies out here. These are all being governed by the enterprise level. So if you have different setups per company, go in here to the page setup area, scroll down to our custom area, and then choose view. So now I'm going to go out here. Probably going to have to sign off as Mary Stewart and back on again in order to see that view, because you notice we don't see it anywhere here. Because it should be showing then, it's like near the end of our employee area. I'm going to sign off and go back in again as Mary. Now it's here, down here under employee sample. So now since it's just her, of course it's only going to be her. So you can give them information about themselves right on here. So we have this individual record and a table view. And in both places, we have this thing that says download IQY file. Here one says download IQY file. So I'm going to click on download. Hopefully I can save it. It's going in my download area. Okay. And then open it. Let me I have to find out where this is saving it on this machine. Okay. So here is IQY file. So you see it says .IQY. I have to close out my Excel because it launches it. 1 minute. Excel to close, that would be good. Let me get my Excel to close. Yes, in the beginning of the class, I did state that I'm going to send out a nice booklet for you. So I have everybody's email address. Tia wanted to know if I'm sending out how to. Let me close this out because this is getting in my way. Exit Excel. Okay. Sorry about that. We all have fun technical difficulties from time to time. So when they click on this, it's supposed to open up in Excel. So I'm going to right-click it. So of course there's more than one way to do it. Opening Excel. So my machine is kind of slow. I'm going to launch it like it's supposed to. Still doesn't want to do it. Sorry about that. Let me go back into Employee Self-Service. Back to this. Open it. I think my security is getting in the way on this machine. Definitely getting in the way. So it will launch Excel, and then it has a username and password that you have to put in. So you have to actually put in what your username and password is for Employee Self-Service. So let me close this a minute. I have a feeling it's because I'm already signed in. Let me go back over here, find my IQI file. Open with. Yeah, it's not cooperating with me. Got to be security issues on here. Sorry, I didn't test that to make sure that it would launch and do its thing for me. It's an older version of Excel too, so who knows? Yeah, that's only gonna, that's my stuff from my clipboard. So let's go back and review some of these things that we were talking about. That was an example of an employee, just an employee one. So if I go back and launch Explorer again, I'm going to go back in here, Mary Stewart. She has rights as a view creator. Under her System Administrator area and View Builder. So let's look at one of these that we might want as a manager. So we have My Employees Performance Reviews. Let's open that one up a little bit more. So this is a really good example if they want it all in one thing instead of having to create a report in Sage HRMS and then email it to them. So we can actually have this out here for them that they can, it refreshes on an ongoing basis for them. So as soon as they launch it, it winds up pulling in whatever the latest and greatest is that comes out of the Sage HRMS and into employee self-service. So we're looking at select fields. So they've got their last name, next review, performance review, and rating description. And we have, it's not grouped by anything, but it's sorted by name, last name of the employee. So it's just some basic information on their employees. And we're giving it to them for everybody who is not equal to T, so nobody who is terminated. So that's that one there. And I'm trying to see which one of these we have actually on the list for you. I think I saw company equipment was on there. So let's close out of View Builder and see some of the other ones that we have out here. So we have, under here, we have employee sample that we just created. So here's one that's the company property. So you see it has to view the company property records. So that one is for the manager. That just tells you here's all the company property. And you notice they haven't put anybody's name on it, though. But we could give a list of all the employees. That's a data shared one. I'll go to company properties, back to there. back off as Mary Stewart and go back in again. That was another custom piece that someone else had done. And property. Records. So it launched it, but it's not putting it out there. So I would test that at your site. It should be launching whoever is the user. It would launch your Excel on your machine. And because I'm in a special demo box, it probably has some permissions issues on it that I don't know about. Okay, so that's the basic thing. Let's go back over one more time. In order to have View Builder rights, you would have to have that role that's given to you, and the only way you can get to that is be the actual signed in as the system administrator, which is master, and you're given those rights to be a view creator. And then when you come out here, you will have these rights as a view builder person. So if you don't have those rights, you need to ask somebody for it. You can build your views. So like we did our sample. So you can build your views, and then it automatically comes up with our web link for us. So it automatically creates it. It's got our server name and self-service. We would copy it to the clipboard. Then we would go back into the Sage Employee Self-Service area. As you see, we have that special window that was open. Then we would do custom content, create a web link. So you would just click on New, put in the name of this web link, which would be whatever you've called this particular view, with a description, and then you would just copy in, do a Control-V, your information from your clipboard. Once you've done that, then we go to our Create Custom Menu area. And if you want it for employee only, we would choose the employee menu. If we want for the manager only, we would go to the manager menu, highlight it, click New, and go back in there again. Manager menu. Let me go back out of here because it's not behaving itself. Back out. Go back in again. Every now and then it acts a little funky. I'm going to go down here to the Manager's menu, click New. It should be showing up at the bottom here. Still stuck on this personnel one. We have to get it off of that. We want Manager menu. I just hit the reset button and come back out here again. Manager menu and New. And it should be showing up what we were doing before, the view pages and stuff like that. So it keeps on wanting to go back to that lovely employee personnel. So sometimes it misbehaves on us. Go back out again, come back in. So any questions that anybody might have? I will be emailing you the instructions on it, on how to do it. So no one has any general questions or anything on it? Looks like Laurie and Tia and Tina are the only ones left. Do either one of you have any questions? No? Okay. Yeah, everybody needs to get out there and so Tina says, explain again about loading the viewer. Okay, so I'll go over that again for you. When we actually create a view, we wind up with this URL here. So we would copy that to the clipboard. I'm going to actually copy that to the clipboard and then go back out as the view builder person, go to our custom content and create a web link. So in this case, I have my web link already of employee sample. And we would call them, mine is called employee sample, and then I do a control V in here and drop in this web link to that, and I hit save. Once I do that, I go to create custom menu, and what that's doing is it's customizing this menu here. So we're going to be choosing either employee to customize the employee menu or manager to customize the manager menu. So then let me go back. Here is my system administrator. Create custom menu. And we're going to go down and find the manager menu. Click on the new. And it's not behaving itself right now. This is not loading report to server. That's if you were doing a Crystal report and load a report to the server. These are all under View Builder. It's not under load report to server. Okay. That's a totally different piece altogether. Anything else that you have a question about? No. Okay. Well, thank you all for attending. I will send out a email with my View Builder instruction booklet for you. If you have any questions from there, you have my email address and you can send me your questions. Okay? Thank you for attending.